All right, all right, all right. What's happening, everybody, man? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode with me and Cuz. What's happening?
What's happening? What's happening in your world, man?
Oh, it's chaos.
Chaos. Moving day.
Well, it's what I was joking. I was like, moving day turned into moving days. So, man, yeah, I like your idea, man. Hey, if it doesn't fit in the crate, it doesn't go.
That's right.
So
yeah, purge, baby, purge.
So appreciate you guys tuning in. Any questions, comments, feedback that you guys have for me and Mr. Kinder, throw it into the comments if this is the first time for you guys tuning in. Man, we come at you guys live every other Tuesday, just Cuz and I, and I mean we'll we'll sit here and go down any damn rabbit hole that we want, but we would love for you guys to throw any questions, comments in that you have, anything you're stuck with, wrestling with, and that's what we're here to do is help you guys get unstuck, keep moving. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of uncertainties in the market, and just starting to see a bunch of different things. Man, I will say, and I was talking with Alex the other night, and you'll appreciate this more than most. So I see all of these damn houses in our neighborhood for sale, still for sale, and I don't know about you. Somebody put it. I mean, just really nailed this kind of the market. They were like, we're in a storm, but if you've ever had a microburst, and I know we experienced one, I think you were still here last year when we had the microburst, right?
Right.
I had an anchored down grill, gas grill. It wasn't bricked in, but it was down. That microburst blew it over. That's how strong the microburst was.
Yeah.
And what somebody, the analogy that they put was, the market a couple months ago was like a microburst. They go, we're still in the storm. It's still raining.
Right.
But it's not a microburst like it was. And I was like, man, that's a great analogy, man. That's a great way to frame it. And so we know the process. I mean, God dang. I mean, how many thousands of families have we helped move, plus agents that we've helped to help families move with a proven, repeatable system?
Lots and lots and lots.
So when we put the home on the market, Alex was like, hey, bro, like, you can't set the price in a market, right? He said, that's over. Like, you can't be greedy and just super price it. You've got to price it down to where the market will drive the price up. We're like, okay, so I'm 100% on board with that. I said, but we are going to follow the process. Home goes on the market on a Thursday, showings Friday, showings Saturday, showings Sunday with an open house, and highest and best offers due by 5:00 on Monday.
Right.
We also followed the process of the depersonalization, professional staging, professional photography, and did not skip any of those steps.
Yep.
What happens? Multiple offers, like ridiculous amount. Like, I asked you what you thought the house sold for. Like, you were almost 200,000 off.
Yeah, I can't believe it. It's unbelievable.
But it's because following the process, cuz. And
Right.
I see all of the other houses that are still on the market for sale in the neighborhood. They're still trying to set the price.
Right.
They are not depersonalized. They are cluttered beyond cluttered. And, it's like, God dang, man, what a disservice in the industry for these agents. And it's like, man, there is a better way.
Yep. Amen to that. And that's the funny thing about it, John, is that, and when we've seen markets that were fast like this, which we did in, 03, 4, 5, never anything like quite like this, but certainly at this caliber, things were going crazy, and you didn't have to paint, you didn't have to depersonalize, you didn't have to do some of those things, and it would still likely bring a solid offer. But it's in markets like these that you make the difference in selling for astronomically more, and the potential for a cash offer, potential for no inspections, all these types of things that kill deals or slow things down. It's all the difference in the world. And so, like I've always said this, like in a market like today, the agent is the most valuable, even more so than in a market that's slowed down and maybe not as fast. Because it's easy as an agent right now to say, yeah, you probably don't have to stage. Yeah, you probably don't have to depersonalize. Yeah, you probably don't have to do those things. But that's that could be the difference in significantly more in their pocket, and that's it's hard to stick to your guns when you know that that's what's best. But the house is going to sell, right? Or at least you suspect that it's going to sell anyways. It's a matter of how much do you want to net? Do you want to net the most you can possibly net, or do you want to just net some of what you could possibly net, right?
Yeah. Everything you said there is gold. And, Missy, agents are getting lazy. I maybe a little bit of that, but I think they're just untrained. They're uneducated. Right. They don't have good leadership. They're not plugged into the right mentors. They're not in the right ecosystem to really understand, the principles that drive, that extra 5, 10, 15% of equity. And when you're talking $500,000 homes, that's a lot of money that, that they're leaving for, their clients on the table. And it's just like you said, right? It's like, yeah, you don't have to touch up. You don't have to do it. We did all of that. We had the handyman come in, we had him touch up everything. It's like, it's the whole, right. Skipping steps only presents the illusion of speed. And it's like, man, if you like, that extra $300, $400, $500, I mean, wow. What is that? The return on those little details really matter. And that's why it's a proven process. Don't skip the steps. And it's just like, it felt good to just trust the process again. And on a personal level, it felt good to trust it. And, to see, gosh, dang, it works. It absolutely works.
Right. No doubt about that. It's one of those things like that's, if you're in this industry and you plan on being in this industry very long, you want to be the expert and you want to be able to, and I think you owe it to your clients to be able to articulate the value in a way that they listen. Right. And so, a lot of the things that we teach and about, how you're perceived when you arrive is a big deal today because people know their house is going to sell. And so when you tell them they need to do something, they don't always listen. And so, you're up against, whether you're following a process in terms of how you're positioned when you arrive, because otherwise, it's easy, to say, nah, don't think so. We're not going to do that. And what's the agent do? Try to convince them, try to tell them, no, you have to. It makes it difficult. So like all of the things that we teach, the magazine tear sheet, the things that you send out prior to your arrival, positioning you as the expert, all of those things are critical to get clients to listen so that they get the best outcome. And so like, that's the mindset you have to have is I'm doing this because I know how important it is to, for them to listen to the advice I'm going to give them. And most agents will not give the best advice, but I'm going to. And, that's, at the end of the day, it's always better for everybody.
Yeah. I think it's a fear of, oh shit, I'm going to lose out on this, potential big paycheck if I'm not, really, not trying to educate them for what's best. Hey, for all of you guys tuning in, if you have any questions or comments, throw it in the feed. Missy, we love you. Thank you for tagging everybody. Just because, will you please, I can't hear it enough. And I know I can't hear it enough. Then that means I know everybody out there can't hear it enough. Will you take a good, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes and really go back and share what you've been sharing from stage since 2010, 2011 about disruption and what's happening, what you've been saying, what we've seen, and what we know to be true moving forward, and why it is absolutely critical to develop the capabilities and skill set to be a true advisor with proven processes and systems. Why is that so important?
Yeah. So, I think, the threat to the real estate agent is in many ways we thought, there was going to be companies that came along trying to disrupt the agent in the process that really hasn't worked, right? So like if you look at where the money has gone, where the lion's share of the market share has gone. Compass is an agent-centric company. I don't really care for them. They don't really care. They're not an agent-centric company, but in terms of how they treat their agents and the contracts they use and the ways that they leverage that, they basically buy agents with the money that gets paid back over time through the split. And then they have, they make some changes along the way with their contracts and such as so I've heard anyways. But it is an agent-centric model. It's not trying to replace the real estate agent. They're highlighting the real estate agent but their growth is all because they bought agents. And then you look at, some of the other companies out there. I never can remember HomeLight, I think it is, right? Which is, choose the best agent and it's a referral fee, right? Mm-hmm. So that's agent-centric. Why? Because they're trying to get deals to you. They're trying to get a piece of your money, but they're not trying to replace you. And then the bigger threat to the real estate agent has been your Zillow offers, your Open Doors, and your OfferPad. And fortunately at EXP we have our Express Offers platform, which is a much better way to get multiple offers on your home than just take one offer from one of these potential power iBuyers or whatever. So that they are trying to replace the agent in the transaction. And so there's going to be a small percentage of people that go. There's going to be and Redfin's another one. Redfin is I would say not agent centric. I'd say they're not even consumer centric. Which their goal is to pay the agent the least amount of money, a discount for the consumer. And certainly not bringing the most value to the consumer in that relationship most of the time. And so so there's always going to be people that want a discount, and in any industry, any type of business, there's always going to be people that want the cheapest, and that's a subset of the market. Always will be, always has been, right? So even before Redfin, there was people that sold by owner or didn't want to pay a commission or wanted a discount agency and all that kind of stuff. So that's always been the case. That always will be the case. And then the big question was there going to be a technology that disrupted the relationship between buyer and agent, and the buyer and the agent, or the seller and the agent? And it just hasn't happened. And the reason it hasn't happened is because when people are making a move, especially when you're moving to an area that you're not familiar with, you need expert guidance and someone who's an expert in that community and knows has the information that they can gather to help you with making a good decision in that purchase, and also same thing when it comes to the selling process. So you really want to be positioned as the local expert, whatever market it is that you serve, whatever niche it may be that you serve. You want to be the go-to person for that niche. And when you can establish yourself as that, which can be done through marketing, it can be done through relationships, it can be done in various different ways. But once you're positioned as the expert, you're really very difficult to dethrone from that position. Even though some people might choose to go at a discount next time, small percentage of your clientele. But if you do a good job, and especially if you can articulate your value proposition in a way that they understand how much more value you bring to the table, and that you net more money working with me as opposed to going with a discount. If you can articulate that in a way, we have a proven repeatable system backed by market research to sell homes for up to 18% more than the methods of traditional real estate agents. Let me show you how we do that. And then you execute that, and then you show them that you executed that by seeing the price of the house sell for, like yours did, a couple $100,000 more than what I thought it was going to go for. Then you now have testimonials and proof and a story that can be shared and told and utilized in marketing, that you have a system and a process that is proven and repeatable, that will net you the most amount of money. Selling your home today in this marketplace without an expert is the most costly mistake you can make. It is. There's no doubt about it. And so, that's, we've been saying this for a long time. You want to be, differentiated and positioned as the expert in your marketplace. That's the most impenetrable, place that you can be. You're always going to get your repeat and your referral business, but it's always going to be inconsistent and it's never going to be predictable. That's a piece of the business. It's a pillar to the business, but what you want to learn and execute on is a niche or a subset of the market that you target, and become the go-to expert for those homes. No different than, Andrew Gatosh is a great example of, he is the go-to guy, 85% market share of every home listed on Lake Lockingren in between Dayton, Ohio and Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yep.
There's no one else that he owns that marketplace, owns it. There ain't nobody going to come in and dethrone him. He might not get a couple deals a year, but everyone else in that place knows either they bought it from him or they know that if it's time to sell, that's the guy you call. And that's the kind of positioning you want, no matter what the niche is, no matter what, if it's a neighborhood or if it's a niche, if it's golf course or if it's lakefront, if it's, something that you have let's say you're a group, you're an ex-Marine, and that's your subset of the market that you work because you're an ex-Marine or whatever. Like all of those are niches that you can dominate and own, but you just got to figure out what that is. And you want to be the Incredible Hulk and jump up and down in a puddle. That's that is the strategy for, and if you look at, you can point to any of the most successful agents in this group and you can see that they've executed that. They've executed that in every marketplace across the country. The ones that are doing 200 million, 300 million and 200 or 300 or 400 deals or 500 deals, they're not doing it by accident, by spray and pray and doing all of these things all over the place. They're jumping up and down in a narrow focus in a subset of the market that they're dominating, and then they expand a little bit more, and then they expand a little bit more, a little bit at a time. And you can do that relatively quickly in this industry and become the dominant force. And the thing that compounds it more than anything is when you get listings, right? So like we always taught this and always will teach this. When you got signs in the yard, it's like having billboards. It's like having that many more impressions, that many more marketing pieces that are out there that every day people drive by. So you're getting impressions. You drive by it when you leave to go to work, you come back home, you saw it twice. If you ate at home for lunch, then you got to see it 2 more times. If you went to pick your kids up from school and came home and dropped them off, you may see the sign 6 times a day, right? And so signs are your best friend. Having signs up the longest you can have them and as many listings as you can take is going to compound upon your brand. And where people go, I hear that guy on the radio, I got something in the mail from him, I see a sign down the street from me. Like that's where that's really where you become the dominant force in the marketplace. And what happens is those people that refer you, and this is what happens, and we prove this by accident more than anything, I think. But you do all this marketing and all these things that you assume is where people are coming from. The reality is if you ask, when you start getting come list me business, people calling you that don't already know, like, and trust you, and they say they want to list their house with you. If you ask them this question, well, who do I need to thank for sending us your business? Somebody did refer them, and whether or not they listen to that referral might have had something to do with how familiar they were with you, the law of familiarity. They see you around everywhere. They see your wrapped vehicle driving up and down the street. They see signs. They see your marketing pieces. But that referral becomes more powerful when you have relevancy already in their mind, when you occupy some of the space in their mind. And so, but they may not have called you if somebody hadn't said that referred you. And so your brand is ultimately how well and how good a job you do for each client and each individual person in the marketplace. But also, as you build your brand, as we discovered, people that don't necessarily know, like, and trust you, but hear your stories and hear your testimonials and hear the ways that you've helped other people they feel like they know you through radio, through social media, through TV for us. Some of those mass medias, I think social media being the best way to target that nowadays. But they think they know you. They feel like they know you. So when they're talking to their friend, especially if they're like a high personality, they're like, hey, why don't you call that gal that so-and-so, right? They're gonna refer you, and they don't even know you. So that's it's occupying in the mind that space of who's the expert in the marketplace, who should I call, and every marketing. I was on a call with somebody last week or the week before, and it was a call about whether they wanted to partner with us at EXP, and it was an agent that had been in the business 18 years, and she listened to and it happened to be, I'll say that I definitely don't want this to get back to who it was, but I don't think it possibly could, but it was in a marketplace. I'll say this, it was in a marketplace where 4 of the top agents in that marketplace are past clients of ours. So number 1, 2, 3, and 4 agents, all of which are very well known, all of which that she knew. Uh-huh. And so I didn't have to say a whole lot, and she realized that, okay, well, this guy's definitely could probably help me, right? But then she went back to her own, well, I don't like to do this because I don't want to just mail people this random thing, da-da-da-da-da. That's just not me. I don't really want to do pop buys. I don't really want to do, okay, well, like you can not want to do a lot of things, but like at least understand the principle of why something works, right? So not pop buys, but she didn't want to do, she didn't want to do direct mail or any type of mail to someone that she doesn't know, because that would just be in her mind, and the way she would receive that is, why are you mailing me this?
Yep.
That's just her perspective, right? Like the rest of the world, the way it works is when you see something enough times, eventually you recognize it and you start to think of it first. It starts to occupy the space in your mind when it comes to whatever that offer is. And so, you may not like to have a magazine tear sheet that you send out. It doesn't matter if you like it. It matters is principally, is there any principles or are there any laws that are related to this people seeing you on the cover of a magazine that makes them look at you differently and value you differently, and even though come to trust essentially you, and even though it doesn't make sense to you and you wouldn't want to do it, you have to understand the laws of marketing, and you have to understand that this is how you do it. And this is, it's one way. It's not the only way. And that's what I explained to her is this: listen, there's a million ways to do it. A good mentor and a good coach knows what are all the ways that you can accomplish that goal. And then what's based upon your strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats, what's the best way for you to take the next step? I think that's what has made our coaching unique. We'll always make it unique, is we're not just trying to pound, this square peg into a round hole. We understand there's certain things you don't like doing and certain things that you're open to and not open to. And let's be like water and move around the obstacles and find the way to the goal, because there's multiple ways to get to the goal in real estate.
100%, man.
So yeah, 100%. So you pulled my grip.
I knew I did. That's why I was like, I'm going to wind them up and let them go, because it's so important to be able to hear. I just, and I just know how close things are to really being a threat for the AFAs out there.
Yeah.
And if you don't get serious about developing the capabilities and skill sets with proven systems and proven processes and proven principles, you're going to get the Darwinian thinning of the herd, right? I'll always remember Dan Kennedy telling you that. It's like, it's coming at, like, it's already here. It's just going to, it's like the Big 12 is dead. They just don't know it yet. Right. AFAs are dead. They just don't know it yet.
Right. And you know what, one of the things, and I don't have the math to support this, but if you look at the number of agents that get out of the industry every year, and you took out the agents the new agents that get in that are ultimately churning out at a much higher rate, right? So the newer agent, less than a year, 80% of them are out in the first year. Another 80% or something like that is out, by the end of the second year. And so what's really happening is you've got, 80% of all real estate agents. Let's say there's 1.5 million realtors in the U.S. I think it's just U.S. that I heard that from recently from Realtor Magazine or whatever. You've probably got 1.25, 1.3 million agents that are consistently churning out every 5 years and being replaced by more average agents that are coming in and doing 1 to 2 to 3 deals a year, or in many cases 0 deals a year. And so there's really only about 150,000, let's say, agents, maybe even less than that. I think we would argue that it's probably more like 50,000 real true agents that are doing the lion's share of the marketplace. The rest of them are churning out. So it would be a thinning of the herd if it wasn't so easy to get a real estate license. But most of us compete with not the top agents in the marketplace, but the 80 to 95% of agents in your marketplace that are going to do 0 to 1 or 2 deals this year.
That's the real competition.
And so, you have to establish that expertise because everybody knows a real estate agent. And that's, you're either trained or you're not trained, right? It's like Mike always says, you don't want to be in the room with someone that's been partially trained to disarm a bomb. And, we're talking about people's largest investments in their lifetime. And if you're not consistently training, no different than consistently focusing on personal development and growth and listening to the right things, being around the right people and getting your training consistently. Like, you think these Olympians that are in the Olympics today train? John, what do you think?
Their whole lifetime.
They're never not training.
Maybe 4 or 5 years old, start it.
Right.
It's just, yeah.
Do you want to be at the Olympic level of your field, or do you just want to be average? Do you just want to be the high school 0-10 team without any training? And so that's the reality of it. And I think we attract and I think we're fortunate we attracted people I believe that this industry is plagued with not enough support, not the right tools, not enough support for the agents that get in the industry. And I believe that most agents could be twice as successful if they had a coach, if they had the right person leading them, or they had the right surroundings around them. And I believe that EXP has been the answer for that by providing the training, the tools, and then the mentorship through the revenue share program with people that have a vested interest in your success. That's the way that they've solved the problem for the industry. We're the most powerful company. We're the fastest growing, and we add the most value to any agent that joins. That's going to be the future. And and we're a tech company, so it's a beautiful thing. I mean, you don't really know how things are going to play out, and what's going to provide the most value. But when you see people like Grant Cardone and people that join this movement at EXP, it's not by accident. You have to question, what am I missing, right? If you're not hearing this, then what are you missing, right? What do they see that you're not seeing? Where's the blind spot that you may have? Those are the questions you should be asking yourself, because the reality is if you're betting against EXP, you're betting against the top minds in the industry, period, that are pouring into for free every person in the company to help them grow their business. And that just doesn't happen in any other company. It just doesn't.
Nope.
So it's a crazy thing to watch. I feel like you're watching every other company scramble to come up with ways to compete with this. But we had an old mentor, HOA. We called him Girl Gold Ass. I don't know why it's so funny to me, but
it's still funny, dude. Every time I see it, HOA. We had the little bands, the bracelets made with HOA on it. Yeah.
HOA was, I mean, he was, next to I mean, he's not even in the same category as Glenn Sanford, but he's probably the second most brilliant person that I've met, and paid a lot of money to. And I paid a lot of people a lot of money, but he was expensive. Mike and I both were paying him when we were paying him
each
$4,500 or something like that, or $5,000.
6 G's each.
6 G's each. So $6,000 a month. But he said this, and he said it over and over again. He said that the real estate industry will not be able to innovate from within the industry. A disruptor will come from the outside and disrupt the industry, meaning these companies that have been around, 50, 100 years or more, they can't innovate their models. You can't just go out and say, hey, we're a cloud-based company now, and you have franchises, all over the place that you sold to somebody bought that opportunity, and somebody owns that region. And so those are, you can't innovate from within the industry. And so that's why we're seeing companies come out of nowhere like EXP and Compass that have innovative models that are picking up so much market share, where these other companies are stuck, and they're stuck in their old ways, and they're not changing. They're the only way that they're changing is that I see is that they're making their independent contractor agreements more stiff for agents that get into real estate, not knowing what they're signing. All of this
defense.
Right. Yeah. They're playing defense, and, they're not trying to add value. They're not trying to focus on what can they do to help agents become more successful. Meanwhile, every single agent in EXP is thinking, how do I add more value to the agents so more agents will join with me? Because my compensation for that is so much that I wake up every day thinking about the agents that join with us and how do we add value to them. Mm-hmm. And that's, good luck competing against that, because no one else is waking up thinking in the collection of individuals, at EXP, if there was a scoreboard of industry giants in terms of people that can actually help other people with their businesses, I don't think you would. I don't think you could come up with anywhere close to the quality of people that we already have at EXP and that we're attracting every single day. And that's the other thing. We don't, and this is something I've noticed, and because it stands out like a sore thumb, or my hair on my neck stands up whenever somebody makes excuses or bitches and complains, and it's like that kind of person you just don't want to work with. That's like, let them off the hook, let them go back on their way. That's not the kind of people that we're trying to attract to EXP. And so when you have a bunch of people that are like-minded, abundant thinking, growth-minded individuals all joining a company, and then all adding value to everyone that they bring into the company, and then having that same experience, you're cascading down a culture of attracting the right kind of people. It's like a magnet. Like you're looking, the people that join this company, like they want to make a difference in other people's lives and impact in other people's lives. They're fortunate and grateful to have people coaching and mentoring and have the right tools that they need to be successful and finally know what to do to be successful and be plugged into 55 hours of training every week. Like they're grateful. They're not sitting on their thumbs making excuses for why they're not successful. And that's a special thing, man. It's and we're just getting started. I mean,
I know, brother. I mean, it is. It's so crazy, man. I mean, you've broken down the math and I know you've been sharing it over the last 30, 45 days is that, the next 3 years, the opportunity at EXP is bigger than the previous 10. And, it's so just unbelievable to see. And, I just want to, one thing why it comes back to the vision. To me, it comes back to vision and leadership. And it comes back down to what this company stands for, what are their values, and, how is the leadership living in alignment to those values? And, when you see that's where it all starts. It's all about the vision. And, I'll keep sharing this story from now on, right? We had the opportunity to fly out to Fort Lauderdale, had breakfast with the president. We had the opportunity, you and I sitting right beside each other, sitting directly across from Glenn and Jason. And we had the opportunity. I mean, it was a magnificent room. I mean, I looked over and you got Gove. I look over, you got Gaydosh, and I'm just like, man, this is a special conversation that's going down right now. And we got to listen to Glenn just rap for about 15, 20 minutes straight, sharing the vision of EXP. And I remember you and I standing up and I said, I'm in. I was already in, but I'm like, I'm way in. And and then, fast forward, what was it? Maybe 2 years later, I was sitting in Orlando and listening to Glenn share the shareholders update. It might've been it was 2 years later. Yep. And I remember texting you and I'm going, holy shit, this dude is executing everything that he said he was going to do is happening. Yeah. And that right. That's it. I mean, that's the magic, right? It's the leadership and the vision and the leadership executing on the vision at a high level within the values that they've created within the organization and driving the purpose that they have. I mean, that's why, when we meet and consult with agents that are trying to build an organization, we help them get clear. And then it's like, dude, what's the vision? What's your vision? What are your values? What's your purpose? And what's the freaking big, hairy, audacious goal that you're after? And we obviously, most of the time get the deer in the headlight look. And that's good because I know, I heard Tim Grover said something. I was listening to, hey, did you listen to the Andy Frisella podcast that I sent to you with him?
Was it Andy Frisella or Ed Milet?
Andy's. It was Andy's that Tim Grover was on, and he might have been.
No, I'm sorry, dude. I listened to Ed Milet's. If you haven't listened to Ed Milet and Tim Grover, listen to that.
I'll listen to that.
This other one.
Yeah,
dude, I got into some Ed Milet, dude. I'm like 25 episodes deep, dude. Ed Milet's stuff is really good. So
he's so magical. Yeah, I mean, Andy's different, right? Andy's a fireball. Ed's passionate. That's why they gel so well together. And but what Grover was saying on there, he goes, when I go in and they were talking about speaking from stage and just the impact and stuff. He goes, I know I didn't do a good job if I get applauses. He goes, I know I did good when it's silence. He goes, because I kick them in the teeth. And I started to think back about that. I'm like, God damn, I don't know how many times that I've had presentations and I just get dead silence. And I used to be like, what is my shit not good enough? And then I heard Tim, and Tim was like, no, you just kicked them right in the teeth. Right. They heard what they needed to hear. You woke them up. And I'm like, right. And so that's when I know we get dead silence when we're talking vision, we're talking, man, your model's off. You're not being a true leader. You're not living to your values, and it's dead silence. I know we just hit them right between the teeth. And that just ignites me more to be like, good. I don't want to hear applauses. I just want to know that I got your attention.
Yes.
Dude, I'm going to check out Milet, man. I was on a Milet kick for a while, and then I don't know, I just fell off for some reason. But
his stuff is fire, bro. Like I'll tell you what, I can't remember which episode it was, but I took down this note. He was talking about change, and he said, people want to change. People change when they hear it enough that they know they have to change from others. When they see it enough and they're inspired to change, and when they learn enough that they decide to change, right? So like that's I was
Do you
like,
have to have all three or just one of those three?
no, he said this is that, when people decide that, when people change whenever they either heard it enough that they know they have to do something, right? Like they, heard enough people tell you that you need to change, that you decide, okay, fine, I'll stop drinking or whatever it is, right? Or that you see what's possible enough that you decide that you could do better and you decide to change, or that you've learned enough that you just have the desire to always want to grow and change. And I was like, damn, that was pretty powerful. But yeah. And some people never change. Some people never change, right? But yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff, man. There's been some really good ones, some interesting ones that I've been in on that have been really great.
Yeah, I'm gonna dive in for sure. I can't wait. As you know, we love to consume and man, I don't know. It's just been hard for me to dive into books lately, but man, I can get sucked into podcasts like nonstop.
Yeah.
It's shit. We listened to driving up last night. I've been listening to Zach. He's 15, man. He loves him some Joe Rogan podcast. So we were jamming some Rogan on the way back up last night. And I get a little cringe, sometimes when Rogan goes off the deep end talking about some stuff, but I'm like, hey, this dude's going to be consuming it anyways. Might as well be listening to it with him. So. Man,
yeah, there's a ton of different perspectives that our kids can get, by diving into these podcasts and listening to these folks. No doubt, man. It's exciting times. It's a lot of that content was, you had to buy, back in our day, you know what I'm saying? And, you had to purchase that stuff and then share it or whatever, but there's so much good stuff out there now that, it's hard not to create a better place, a better world with, as much good content that's out there that people are able to put out and people are able to get access to.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And, we were fortunate enough to, be in the early days of internet marketing, and man, I'll never forget. And then it was just funny, the people that would resist it, hey, move the free line.
Right.
Which means just give it all away. Right. Yeah. Like, give it all away. And it was cool to be kind of a student, at that time when everything was changing and the goats were emerging in the internet space. Just a couple questions. So, are we having the seller pay for preparing their home as agents, or do you foot the bill as painting and professional staging goes? I'll give you two points of view. One, we always had the seller pay it. The other is that there are some options out there. If you have a great stager that has a great organization, somebody like we have, like Jana and Model My Home and my HSRA, her association, they'll foot the bill. But you have to understand, when they foot the bill, there's going to be a surcharge. There's going to be a plus on it. So, it's paying on the back end. You're going to pay a little bit more than you would if you paid for it on the front end. So just kind of be aware of that. If you put that burden of management on yourself, it can get heavy. I know we tried to carry it a little bit there in Lawton Cuz, and it got heavy to manage it, right? To manage the contractors, manage it with the seller. So I don't know your thoughts on, does the seller pay for it, or do you help offset it? Like, I know you've got some great stories and great examples to share either way.
You say that again, with what? With
either the seller preparing, does the seller foot the bill or?
So I go back to the most recent one I did, which was that Braden had a house that was on the market 400 plus days, expired 3 times, had 3 offers that, got executed and fell apart. This was a few years ago, but the, at the end of the day, we told the seller that they needed to stage the property because it was vacant, and it just didn't show well. And so, we recommended that they stage it, and negotiated with Jana to have that put on the HUD at the end of the deal. And again, it's not my, it doesn't, I don't believe, it depends on, your business model and what you want. I don't believe it should be my expense to pay for, to furnish and stage a home to sell it for the most amount of money. But what I would expect is that if I asked you to spend, $2,000 and it helps you net an additional $15,000 or $20,000 that you wouldn't have otherwise, that you would be willing to pay that. And really what you're paying for, it's kind of like the old analogy of, the plumber, the guy had a squeaky stair and he calls a carpenter or a guy to come fix it. And the guy comes in, looks at the stair and, puts one nail in it and fixes it, and gives the guy a bill for like, $100 or whatever. He's like, you only here like 2 minutes, how's this $100? He said, well, he took, the invoice and put, one nail, $1, knowing where to put it, $99. Right. Like that's the value is in the knowledge and knowing what to do. And so,
dude, you're going to laugh. So our damn garage door opener, I mean, the pad on the wall hadn't been working for years. Like, I shit you not. Like, we had somebody that wasn't qualified. Like, I don't know, man, maybe we got to get up and rework the wiring. I was like, don't mess with that. We just stuck one of the openers right there. So we just used the opener instead of the pad. Holly was like, man, we got to get this fixed. We can't be selling this house with this. This is janky. Right. So she finally got a hold of a true overhead door person. He came out. He started laughing. Like, I shit you not. He started laughing. He walked over there, plugged one cord back in, and it started working. He goes, the wire just came unplugged.
Wow. Yeah. Right.
I was like, don't.
Yeah. Okay. God, we called you.
But that's the example. That's exactly what you were just saying, right?
Right.
That's exactly what you were just saying.
Yep.
That's so funny. But yeah, man, I'm with you, man. It's the return on the investment, and we opened the conversation sharing, our experience by trusting the process. I'm going to tell you, we got double-digit percentage more by following the process to the T than not following the process to the T. Double digits in this market, right? Like, well, you would have got it anyways. No, we wouldn't have, because there's examples in the marketplace that is proving that to not be true.
Yeah. Yep. And it looks like things are, probably going to start softening up a bit, would be my guess, here in the next probably 6 months.
Yep.
So I hear a lot of mixed emotions as far as that goes, but I think there's a lot of things going on. Honestly, like, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Nuts. It is nuts. Hey, we had one other question come in earlier. And I can't recall, what are some of the best programs for mass texting?
Mass text, man, I would caution anyone who's thinking of mass texting, just depending on what you mean by that. In fact, in Canada, they were cracking down big time on that. There's been some articles out about, it's something like $1 million per infraction or something like that. I would just say that, I get mass text messages, but I'm telling you right now, that stuff's going to start drying up because they're just cracking down on it. It's freaking absolutely annoying. And so, I don't think you want to have a mass text engine. I think you want to have something that you have somebody opted in for that can add text to the mix, which, most all of the platforms out there today allow you to add, either add that functionality or they have it. But I wouldn't be mass texting. I would stay away from that personally.
Yep.
Too dangerous.
Yes, sir.
Well, think about it. When you get a text message, a mass text message, how do you feel about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you always think about, I don't know why, but I've always thought this way. If the way that somebody's trying to get me to do business with them is not a way that I enjoy, then I'm not going to do it to other people. Right. So I don't like getting cold calls, people just blasting my cell phone, which happens all the time. There's no chance in hell I'm going to sign up for anything with anybody who calls me. What
do you get? Maybe two to three spam calls a day?
2 or 3 a day at least. Some days it's more. Some days it's definitely more. I've blocked so many numbers now. I think they're running out of numbers to call me from. But
I see when you hit the spam deal. I see the Google alerts. You have a high level of spam reports. I'm like,
you're right. That's how many people are spamming me. Yeah. But there was what was it? I had something that it was a call from this worked 7 years ago. It was brilliant. A number comes calls you from your area code 580. But it's Manitou, Oklahoma, and there's only a population of 12 people in Manitou, Oklahoma, and that you don't know none of them. And so, like, when somebody calls me with a 580 and it says Manitou, Oklahoma, I know for a fact that that's a sales call. So like, I'm never going to answer those calls. And so first of all, it's a stupid strategy anymore to do that, because people already know, if they know somebody in those little towns that have the same area code as you. And so, it's a dead giveaway. I don't answer any calls that come from little small towns like that, because I know that I don't have anybody that should be calling me from them.
Nope.
But it happens every single day from different towns I've never even heard of in Oklahoma that call me, because my area code's 580. So all that stuff, man, you're better off building a business of adding value to people's lives, as opposed to, trying to figure out the next little, way to, to crack the code to find people. Focus on adding value.
You don't even have a chance to even establish trust that way. It's not the human behavior. It's just not how people behave.
The old golden rule. Back to the golden rule.
Yep, for sure. Cause damn, man, I can't believe 45 minutes have already flown by. Cool. So can you share how you suggest handling a split with agents joining your physical team, since the EXP 80/20 is public knowledge?
So if you're a team at EXP, then they have they're only going to pay a half cap of 8,000. So that's the first thing. It won't be 16. So they're going to get a discounted cap for all the value that EXP brings to the table, and the tech and everything else. So what I've seen happen from a lot of different perspectives is a typical split that we would have on company generated business is a 50-50 split, and then on agent generated business maybe you give them 60-40 or something along those lines. And what is it that you do that adds a ton of value to what's your value proposition? It's not are you managing the listing and the listing side if they take a listing, and what does that entail during the closing process? Do you have a transaction to close that you're taking care of? But know what it is, the value that you're bringing to the table. Are you training them? Are you providing additional coaching and training for them? All of that, and that's what I would say is your value proposition. So if they can get business on their own, great, they get a little better split. If they want you to feed them, then it's 50-50 split or whatever you may want to be. But EXP is going to take 20% of that until you hit $8,000, and that's just the way it goes, the way it works. So if you're having a hard time communicating that value, they probably haven't been, if they're doing deals, it's hard to get someone to join a team anyways if they're doing 10 or 15 deals and join on a split. The thing that I would say it gives you the flexibility to determine is, okay, do I want to provide leads to agents? If so, what's a fair trade for that? And what all value am I going to add to to that agent for those deals? And then if they do deals on their own, what does that look like? It could be that they get a higher split even than that. Then the 65 could be 75%, or at a certain point when they get to a certain number of transactions, do they graduate from your team to a 75-25 split with you? And then ultimately they go out on their own and go to the 16K full cap. So try to kind of create an ascension program for agents becoming successful. The truth is agents sell an average of 5 homes a year. Most agents that get in the business fail. Most of them don't understand lead generation. If you got those systems and processes to help them, then there's value in that. So that's kind of how I look at it.
100%, man. And I love that what you said there, man. Create an ascension path for them so that they know that there's not a lid on their opportunity with you, that there is a true ascension if they choose to take it. And you have to factor in, okay, like Jay was saying, am I giving them leads? But then also you have to factor in how much human capital, how much of your human resources are you giving them, right? Are they having access to your administrative team? And then the other is how much do they have time to you? So your largest investment in your business is people. And so if you're investing in people and you're providing the people for your agents and the value proposition, there is a trade-off for that. And it's also for your branding and for your marketing and for your lead gen efforts. So if you're providing for those things, then the trade and compensation can be a little more balanced. But if you're not giving them opportunities, if you're just giving them, a place to come, if you're creating culture, then you're gonna take less, and then just so kind of factor that in, and then also like Jay said, give them a clear ascension if they choose to aspire to that. Don't say, well, here's the team. Then you say, well, here's the team. If you get to a point, you can graduate here. And if you can here, then ultimately, if we feel you'd be great, you want the icon status next to your name, then we can graduate you to that. You want to start building your own team, we can graduate you to that. But the more that you can paint a bigger vision, a bigger future for them, the more excited they're going to be with you. And, they're, gonna want to be there and continue to grow.
Right.
Thanks, Bryant. Listen, implement, and grow. That's it, man.
Yep.
That is it. Cuz I appreciate you. I know you're cranking away. Super excited for everybody tuning in. We've got some cool stuff behind the scenes that are working that is going to be rolling out everybody's way soon. So hey, like Bryant said, stay plugged in. Gather what's useful, implement, and let's keep growing.
Right on.
All right. See you guys.
Yep.